It kind of surprises me to say this because I'm a big Fred Astaire fan, but I didn't like Silk Stockings. And actually, I liked everything about it except the narrative, but because I'm narrative driven, and usually with films I prefer a good narrative over, other aspects, it just didn't appeal to me. But there are things that I need to praise it for, but the narrative I just didn't care for. It's a 1957 film. It's directed by Rouben Mamoulian, screenplay by Leonard Spiegelglass and Leonard Gersh, and of course it stars Fred Astaire as a character called Steve Canfield. We also have Cyd Charisse as Ninotchka, and Janis Paige giving a brilliant performance as Peggy Dayton. I thought her performance in particular really stole the spotlight whenever she was on screen. And I'll read the description from IMDb. It's one sentence and doesn't really spoil anything, but I think it kind of gives you a general overview of what it's about. And this says, a Russian government official is sent to Paris to bring back her comrades. She soon gets a taste of Paris life and falls in love with an American movie producer. So she's sent to Paris where our American movie producer, Steve, Fred Astaire, is making this picture with the use of this Russian composer, and three people are sent to get him. And I have to say those three characters are rather brilliant, actually. All of the characters in this are great, and that's definitely something that's worth praising. They're very well written and developed characters, and very well acted. But then that doesn't go to plan, and they kind of fall in love with this Paris lifestyle, and then Ninotchka ends up getting sent to get them instead. But Steve takes it as his mission to fall for her and try and get her to fall in love with Paris and everything the city has to offer as well. She's very straight-laced. She's got a very mechanical and clinical look at what love and attraction is, and Steve tries to try and kind of chip away at that and break down her barrier, which it sounds interesting, but I don't know, there's something about it. I felt like the narrative was all over the place. I felt like the characters' entrances were quite forced a lot of the time, certainly as the narrative developed. It just didn't feel very organic. It didn't feel very natural. But as I said, the performances are great. We have some brilliant costumes. The dance numbers and the musical numbers I really thoroughly enjoyed. The choreography is really wonderful, particularly there's a particular number with Canfield and Ninotchka, the song of which I can't remember, but it's relatively towards the end, and I just thought it was exquisite and stunning and gorgeous to watch. So it ticks every single box except the narrative. And I didn't find the narrative interesting. I didn't, find its development to be very good. I didn't feel the pacing was very effective. It felt very forced, and it didn't feel very natural or convincing at all. So I can't say I hated it, because there were certainly a lot of things about it that were enjoyable. Certain performances, the dances, the music, the costumes, but the narrative let me down. So it's not my favourite Fred Astaire, to say the least, but I can't say it's a bad film. Would I recommend it? If there's something about it that's drawing you to it, if you're a fan of anybody in the cast, if the narrative sounds like your kind of thing, sure, absolutely. But I'm definitely not going to say that it's one that you should go and rush to see.